Hello, everybody. Welcome to Snow Talk Part 2, or Part 7. Kevin's sitting here.
Yeah.
It's taken me a few times.
Take 94.
Yeah, I know. I'm always hitting the wrong buttons on this thing. Anyway, here's the latest. We'll cover some of the data, and then we'll get into some of our thoughts on this forecast. Winter storm watch in effect just about all of Kentucky. Carroll County not included in wave country. But Indiana only includes 3 counties, Clark, Floyd, and Harrison. This will be for later tomorrow night and certainly on Friday. For those of you out to the north, could you see an advisory being issued? I'm talking about Salem, Scottsburg, Madison, possibly once we get closer to the event. But right now, the best chance to meet winter storm criteria looks to be more to the south. But as we've been saying, any shift in the track can certainly add another row of counties into the watch as we get closer. And then, of course, all of this will be upgraded to a warning once we head into later tomorrow afternoon. Could be as early as tomorrow morning, but probably tomorrow afternoon. A lot of this will turn pink to warning level as confidence grows in where to place that. So let's talk about the setup here. First off, here is one piece we're watching, Amarillo low. It's going to drive into portions of Oklahoma and to Arkansas later tonight and tomorrow. And then another piece is going to dive down to the south. The two of these are going to work together and combine over Louisiana and form the main low that will work out to the east-northeast. Question is, how much of an angle to the east-northeast are we talking as we head into Thursday night and into Friday? For a while, that was trending basically north of Knoxville, Tennessee, which was putting a lot of the heavier snow into the Louisville area. And today it's been shifting a little more to northern Georgia and the Smokies, which has been shifting it a little more to the south. We've got to figure out these details because they make a big difference in the long run. The snowpack that's on the ground now, and I think it's a computer model generated idea. I think it's overestimating on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. I did talk to friends, by the way, in Nashville. The snow has melted in that area. So the reason why I mentioned that, sometimes low pressures love to track on the edge of a snowpack. In this case, it is possible that may help the track that angle a little more to the north, but anything significant is looking very unlikely. But a 50, 60-mile shift to the north compared to where the models are showing now can be significant for an area like the Louisville Metro. It would determine the difference between a half a foot of snow and a dusting. So that's the reason why we've got to keep an eye on these little shifts and these model movements as we get closer. And this far out, it's really hard to tell. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult. We need a good 24 hours to nail that down. All right, here's the Shref model. I love showing this because it does a really good job as well on snowfall accumulations. Kind of calms down the chaotic runs of the other models. Light blue shaded. A good chunk of Kentucky is in this light blue shaded area, which puts it in the 5 to 6 inch range. That does go up to Louisville, by the way. Then you get into the lighter blue. That's about 7 to 8. Then you get into the purples. You're talking about anywhere from 8 to 10. But notice when you drop off over to the Indiana side here, it goes down to about an inch of snow. It's a sharp cutoff. We've got a northeast flow all day as we head into Friday. And that northeast flow is really going to shave off the northern edge of that low very dramatically. And it's going to allow for a very sharp contrast on snow amounts. And that's why we got to watch it carefully, because that sharp cutoff, that shaving effect, is going to be right along the Ohio River the way it's looking right now, which is stressful in itself. All right, so here's an interesting thing on the HRRR model with the triple R. Earlier today I noticed it can only see 18 hours out, so really we can't use this model for the snow event yet. Tomorrow night we can start using it. Not tonight, but it has done well. It did well this morning. It did well in the past 2 snow events. But looking at what it's seeing all the way through early tomorrow, it's showing that one of those pieces I was showing you in Kansas, it shows one of the pieces trying to move into northwest areas of Arkansas. And then I checked it an hour later, and it moved into Oklahoma. And then today, again, I checked the most recent, back into northern areas of Arkansas. So it's having a tough time, that little piece that's diving down, that's eventually going to meet up with another jet streak over portions of Louisiana. So we've got to look at all the pieces and keep an eye on all of them, because that will determine the eventual outcome later on in time. And this by far is my favorite map. This was just updated from WPC. This is hand drawn of the low pressure tracks of the system moving through. This is the surface low. Again, this is where the once we get into tomorrow afternoon, this is where it shows the 2 pieces coming together over Louisiana, and then it tracks into the Smoky Mountains. Now the dots around that show you the other possible model ideas. And you see, initially, not too bad. Now for the jet streak piece of energy, it's moving out of the Rockies. It's got high variance. It even shows some of the members all the way down into Houston. But notice most of them are around Dallas. You get into Louisiana, most of them not too far off. Central Louisiana, not far from Baton Rouge. And then as we head into Thursday night, it is taking it over portions of the Alabama-Mississippi border. The model variations do go as far north as the Tennessee-Alabama border, and as far south as Montgomery. Then when we get into the part of the low that really matters for us, here's where we see some differences here. Some of it isolated model accounts take it into central Georgia, but some also take it into the Nashville area. Obviously, a pull toward the Nashville area would turn west of the Appalachians and would allow for a better chance for heavy snow. In fact, it would probably focus more over Indiana and West Kentucky than central Kentucky if that were to be the case. But overall, the WPC folks are going to average it out and keep it right over the Appalachians, and that's where a lot of the forecasts seem to stand at the moment. Notice it stops there, though, and you see another low in South Carolina. That's because there's a transfer of energy. The low pressure actually can sense the amount of energy that the Gulf Stream can have. That causes an area of low pressure, or pressure in general, to fall along the eastern seaboard. A new low develops. This becomes the new Big Daddy, and then moves all the way into the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and that's the one that's going to produce several inches, if not a couple feet of snow for the nation's capital. And that's why you're probably seeing the oddness of the heavier snow bands here. There's nothing, and then it picks up again here. That's the reason why the low transfers over to that area. So what we've done here, we've come with some hand-drawn maps, kind of give you a general idea. Keep in mind these will likely change as we get more data. But as we get into about midnight Friday into the sunrise time frame, freezing rain breaks out across our southern counties, snow to the north, and then by the time we get between mid to late morning. Now the snow, some of the models say the snow is not even going to get to Louisville until sunset Friday. We think that's too slow of a time period for that to happen. So we're going to raise that up a little bit as far as speeding the time up for the snow to get into Louisville. The wider band would be more the heavier accumulated snow. Still a freezing rain potential south of Bardstown, even through the morning hours on Friday. And some ice accumulations are expected. Then as we head into the afternoon hours on Friday, this is when I think we're going to have the strongest winds. Very strong northeast winds. Heavy snow moving through here. This is going to be the ones that have a risk to overachieve in some areas. I'm talking about 8 to 12 potentially, if not more. It all depends on the banding features, but strong winds, we'll call it drifting of snow and so forth. How much of this, again, extends to the west is a little questionable because we got to figure out the track first. Having said that, ice accumulation to this point, this does not look like anything like '09, so don't think about that, all right? But there could be about a quarter to a half inch of ice somewhere setting up in our southern counties, and right now we're thinking it's going to be from around Litchfield to Campbellsville and Lebanon, potentially a half inch. And with the strong winds, that can cause some power outages. Be careful watching this. Lesser amounts, a quarter of an inch, and then maybe a tenth of an inch in Bullitt County. And then at this point, we're not expecting any icing here in the Louisville area. We think our profile will be too cold for that. As far as snow goes, what a difference. I mean, look at this map. You're going from Campbellsville and to Bardstown, potentially 6 to 8 inches of snow. And in Louisville, even in Jefferson County, Fern Creek and Mount Washington, potentially over 6, maybe up to 8 inches. Downtown Louisville, closer to 4. And then you get to Henryville, maybe an inch and a half. Very sharp drop off on this snow band, and what we call the deformation band. It's what's got a little bit of an angle to it. You see why we're worried about the track, right? So that's why we've got to nail that down. All right. So we're not trying to confuse and we're not trying to go crazy here with snow amounts. This is the reason why we did not want to show snow amounts until as close as we possibly can, because these wild snow maps that have been getting out as of late are really have got everybody thinking we're going to get a foot of snow or 2 feet of snow here in Louisville on Friday. That has not been the case. All right, we've known since day one that when we see that stuff, it's impossible to agree with that when you don't even have the storm formed yet, or even into an area where it's being sampled. So we just got like, okay, that's pretty. That looks fun. Scary. Yeah, I get that. It looks scary. But can't trust it. Now we're getting to the point where we're starting to have a little better idea on snow amounts, but now we're running into the challenge of where. And we're going to need another 24 hours. We may be able to have some better data at midnight, but it could be tomorrow before we really got a good handle on this. I wish I had better news, guys. We're trying really hard. We appreciate your patience on this. Just don't panic. Don't freak out. Don't storm Kroger. Trust me, I used to be a bag boy. Don't scare me to death. I know how the bag boys feel. All right? Just if you need something at store, fine, go get it. If you need something tomorrow, it's going to be a nice day in general. Go ahead and get it if you can get out. But don't panic. This is not going to be a snowstorm. It's going to snow you in for days and days and days and days, and you're never going to get out of the house. But be alert and be informed. That is what you need to be. And that is what we're trying to stress. Let us do the worrying for you.